Who Day to all those who celebrate. It is Who Day Eve.
Yes,
We're
sir.
officially the Saturday before week one of the Bengals season. We've already had two NFL games played by the time you hear this, but we are gearing up for week one, Cincinnati at Cleveland. Um, Welcome back to Gridiron Jungle, hosted by your two favorite Bengals fans. I'm Rich, here with my brother Philly Phil. Phil, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. Ready to wrap up these top 10 lists. And like you said, it's Who Day Eve. So how could I not be feeling good, man? I'm super excited.
Absolutely, man. And we appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for rocking with us. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, comment, the whole nine. If you want to be a part of these episodes, we will read your comments on air. Check out our YouTube page, anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And we're looking forward to getting this season underway. Had a long off season, training camp talk, top 10 list, but it's about time to get into some real football. So just real quick before we get going, we're not going to do an official preview episode because from my stance, and I'll let Phil talk about his. Listen, we know what it is. We know what the talent level is, and we've done enough talking. Like, let's go out there and win a week one game. Then let's go win a week two game. Like, let's actually start the season off right. I don't really care about X's and O's, what we should be doing, keys to the game, what positions, what skill positions need to win matchups. Like, listen, go out there, do your job. Let's get this win and start off the season the right way. So we can take
Yes,
care of
sir.
business in Cleveland, come back, take care of business in Jacksonville, start off the season 2-0. I think we'll be in a good spot to start things out. But regardless of that, I don't want to, we're past moral victories. We're past, but they look good. No, we got to close. We got to finish. If we really want to be the team that I think we can be. I truly believe Joe can be MVP this year. I truly believe that the Bengals can win the Super Bowl. I know we have defensive issues, but I truly believe that they can adjust and Al can get things going. We got to get this started off right. That's my preview. That's all I got to say about it. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it was the Browns, if it was the Ravens, Steelers, if it was the Packers, if it was the Chiefs, whoever. We got to take care of business. Because I'll tell you one thing, Phil. As I watched last night's game between the Chiefs and the Chargers are legit. The Chargers are legit. It's only
Very
week
much
one.
so.
I don't believe in overreacting. It's the same way I hate when new art comes out, whether it's music, whether it's movies. Hate when something comes out in 24 hours and people are calling it the classic, saying it's the greatest thing ever. Let it marinate, let it sit. But the Chargers, I will say, after week one, look good on offense and defense. That's an AFC threat. The Chiefs, even though they didn't look at top form, they didn't look terrible. They got some holes
Yeah.
that can definitely be beat. But that's just an example. And the other game on Thursday was the NFC game. So there's a lot of work to be done, man. And in order to get there, we have to be sharp. It's not about them; it's about us. So that's my impassioned plea for the Bengals to start the season off. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add before we get into our top 10 list.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add is, this is the first time in the Zach Taylor era that we've had a shift in the preseason philosophy. So I'm personally interested to see how and if that pays off at all. Opening with Cleveland is a chance to really start fast. Not just win the first game, but win the first divisional game, win the first conference game. Really kind of hush some of the naysayers. So I know it's really important to block out the outside noise, but even better way to block out the outside noise is just to eliminate it. And I think the Bengals have a chance to do that. So really excited to see that. Really excited to see our kind of, I guess, new look offensive line against a really formidable defensive line. That's going to be fun to see. Cleveland's known to want to run the rock. So I'm really interested to see how these linebackers, take on that challenge, see if we tackle well. And really excited to see our O-line go against Myles Garrett and Mason Graham. That's gonna be fun. And I definitely have a best bet that I'm gonna share at the end of the podcast, as well as a parlay that I put together that I like to share with the viewers. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to starting fast. And like you said, it's Battle of Ohio. It's division rivalry. It's it's orange versus orange. We don't need to, like you said, we don't need to get into the X's and the O's. In the words of the great Al Davis, man, just win, baby, just win. So
Just win. There's already been some chirping, so
a lot of chirping. I want to blow out.
Yeah, I got to stand on that. Cleveland, y'all got to stand on that. And we got to deliver. So it is what it is, man. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. But enough about that. We'll be back on Tuesday. I believe Tuesday, I'm sure we'll be back to go ahead and talk about how week 1 went and then start gearing up for the following week and everything else. But with that being said, let's get into our last top 10 list before the season officially starts, or the rest of the season officially starts.
No, you said it right. You said it right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Season don't start till we play.
Yes,
top 10 signal callers, top 10 quarterbacks, the most important position in the sport. Obviously, we saved this for last. We followed it up after doing our top 10 pass catchers. Obviously, they go hand in hand. So let's just get into it. Phil, in true fashion, as we've been doing, I'll go ahead and kick the list off.
Let's get it.
Remember, this is our list. This is what we feel going into 2025. And, we'll take it from there. But with that being said, at number 10 for me, an ageless wonder, somebody who was actually never, as I was looking, he's never made an all-pro team. Never made an all-pro team. It's only made the Pro Bowl, I believe, twice, which is insane when you sit down and think about it. He played 16 games last year. I believe he's officially 37 years old. Had a record of 10-6 last season, 65.8% completion percentage, or excuse me, 65.8 completion percentage, 3,762 yards, 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. On a playoff team, a team that got hot at the end and looked like they could make some noise before they ran into Philly, and that is going to be Matthew Stafford of the Los Angeles Rams. I have him in my number 10. I believe that he is one of the people that just is a consistent force, especially since he's been with Sean McVay and the Rams. They've really been good. They've really been solid. And like I said, it blew me away when I realized that he didn't have more awards and more Pro Bowls. I've said it over and over. The Pro Bowls don't really mean that much to me. But he was playing in a time where Pro Bowls did mean something. He only has one that came in 2014. And once again, this past season, not this past season, but the year before, 2023. So Matthew Stafford is my number 10. We'll see how long he can keep doing it. He's got the back issues. But him with the Sean McVay offense, they're dangerous. They're a threat. And obviously, they are part of the reason why we don't have a ring when we played them a few years back. So there's that.
Absolutely. And, I didn't do an honorable mention list, but if I did do one, Matt Stafford definitely would have highlighted that list there. Wanted to squeeze him on my top.
I wanted the honorable mentions.
I didn't do one on the quarterbacks. I feel like quarterback is like, hey, it's a hard 10 for me. So, but I love Matthew Stafford, one of my favorites, ageless wonder, really respect the guy. And he's like one of those guys that's quarterback's favorite quarterback, so I think that says a lot about him. And I like the way that you open this, this is our list, like Wayne's infamous rant, my cup is my cup. And I'm starting my list off with a little bit of controversy probably for some folks, but I love this dude. He was my second favorite quarterback in this draft class behind, my favorite quarterback. And that's Jordan Love, man. This dude he shows up, he was injured week 1 last year through the whole season, still managed to throw for 33.89, only had 63% percentage completion, 25 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions. But all they did was win, found a way to make the playoffs. And I mean, this dude is just a baller, somebody who I still think hasn't scratched the surface. And no pun, but I love Jordan Love.
I love it. I ain't mad at it, man. And listen, we got some co-hosts in the background. If you haven't heard, there might be a few co-hosts back there. So, Phil's always on dad duty. So we're going to get through the list. Even the way, maybe they'll chime in and give their picks, man. Shout out to the twins, the 2.0s, and the OGs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I like the Jordan Love pick. He's somebody who I've debated putting at that number 10 spot. Just gave it to Matthew just because of what he's done and how he consistently gets that team over the hump. It seems like the past couple of years they've always been out of it, and then they find a way to get in the playoffs and even look like one of the best teams and most consistent teams during that time. With my number 9, talk about some controversy. 15 games played last year. Team did not have good success. It was a down year for them. They were 6-9. 65.9% completion, 3,864 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Got a big payday this offseason. People were debating that. I know some people like to call him Mr. Irrelevant. We'll call him Mr. Relevant on this pod. That's going to be Brock Purdy, somebody who I'm not fully or wasn't fully a believer in, but I can see under Kyle Shanahan it's hard. So he can easily push him way off of this list if he has a bad season this year, or he can make his way up. He's kind of one of those players that's right in the middle as far as your public perception. Like he's either going to be really good or he's not. I don't think there's going to be any kind of Matthew Stafford where just steady the course for him. We'll see if he goes out and earns it. We got to remember in 2023, he was fourth in MVP voting.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was fourth in MVP voting. He was sixth in Offensive Player of the Year voting. He is a very, very serviceable quarterback. I wouldn't say he's elite, but he's really good. And when you have a madman like Kyle Shanahan in the background, kind of directing what his schemes are, I think he has something to prove. And I think he's going to go out there and do that. I think, obviously he has some weapons that are going to be missing. McCaffrey's calf is acting up. McCaffrey.
I'll never get over that one.
Yeah, that was hilarious, man. Shout out to Milk.
Yes,
and
sir.
Also to Ayuk, his favorite target.
Mm-hmm.
He's also going Debo's in Washington now.
Yep.
We'll see what he does with his weapons, but I'm looking forward to it and seeing what the 49ers do. But I have Brock Purdy, Mr. Relevant, at number 9.
I like that pick. He's not on my list, but I think this is the perfect season for him to either solidify himself on that list as he is on yours, or either jump onto and up mine. Because, like you mentioned, no Debo, Ayuk is out. You just really got. You talked about McCaffrey. You got really just Pearsall. You really just got Pearsall and Kittle. You know what I mean? And Jawan Jennings, I don't want to discredit him, but, no real elite receiver. I don't even know if a healthy Ayuk is elite, but I really do like him. So, it's a big season for him. He's got a lot to prove, and I think he's going to be in a perfect situation to do that. Could go extremely well, could go extremely bad. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Niners follow up this season. Number 9 for me is somebody that has kind of been disrespected throughout his career, and he was recently on this new season of quarterback, and somebody that's definitely grown on me, plays for the city that I like to say is our cousin, and that's Jared Goff, man. 46 29 passing yards, 4,629 passing yards, 72.4 completion percentage, 37 touchdowns, and only 12 interceptions. Really balled out last year. I know a lot of people kind of hold it against him that he has so many weapons, but that's not his fault, And I think Ben Johnson had a lot to do with his success. So kind of in that same Brock Purdy vein, I think he's going to have a chance to either move off of this list or move up this list, depending upon how he can perform this season. Still has all the same weapons, but is losing that play caller. So I'm really interested to see how Jared Goff performs this year. But I got Jared Goff number 9, man. Solid guy. He's grown on me a lot, and he's in my top 10 there at number 9.
I like that. I thought you were going Kirk Cousins at first, and I was a little bit worried. But Jared Goff at number 9, I'm not mad at that at all. He did not make my list, but he was with that Jordan Love category. It probably could have been 10-9. Definitely deserving, especially since he doesn't have an offensive guru. What he did in Ben Johnson, we'll see how he looks this year. But I do think Jared Goff, I like his attitude. I like the way he approaches the game. One thing about quarterbacks, I always look at how their team looks at them, right? They always talk about the intangibles, right? So if we switch over to basketball, when scouting departments are looking at high school prospects or they're looking at transfer prospects, they look at the small stuff, not how many points they score, but, if this guy falls down, or his teammates coming over to help him up? Mm-hmm. Is he rushing over to help his teammates up when they fall down? I like being around this person. I'll go to battle with this person. And Jared Goff is that. The Jared Goff chance that the crowd gives, the way that they say coach rallies around him, the way his teammates speak about him, lets you know he got to pull, like, literally. And obviously we're making this list, so we don't think Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the league, but
they do.
I just saw David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs on the pivot. And they were literally saying, I will take Goff over anybody.
Yeah.
And people gonna clown us for this, and I don't care. Like I would take
Yeah.
Jared Goff going to battle anytime. It doesn't matter. So
They made me believe them. I didn't think they was just saying it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I think we referenced this before, but nah, that's real. So I gotta respect that. Shout out to Jared Goff. Shout out to you for putting him on the list.
Yes, sir.
My number 8. Speaking of somebody who's been disrespected their career, a journeyman until he found a home that looks like it's going to be a good fit for a while. This will be his 3rd season in Tampa. It's funny because I talked about Matthew Stafford. I completely forgot that he was a backup to Matthew Stafford for a season. I completely forgot when he played for, I think he was Carolina and then got traded to the Rams midseason.
Yep.
A guy who was a number 1 pick and everybody's thinking like he might not even last. Carolina split some time with Sam Darnold, ironically, and then ended up going to LA to be a backup and found a home in Tampa Bay. Nobody knew if it was going to work. His first 2 seasons in Tampa, he made the Pro Bowl, was 3rd in Comeback Player of the Year voting in 2023. He was 11th in MVP voting, which I know a lot of people are like, all right, then that's just, what are we talking about? Hey, he got a vote on the ballot, and that means something. That means something, especially in the NFL, and especially when you look at his early part of the career where you're like, he might not even be in the league in 2024, let alone getting MVP voting. 10-7 last year, 71.4 completion percentage, 4,500 yards. He did lead the league in interceptions with 16, so we got to give that some recognition. But none other than Baker Mayfield. He's the number 8 on my list. Somebody that just continues to show out. Perfect marriage with him in Tampa, especially coming after a legend like Tom Brady. He's made it work, and I got to tip my hat and give him nothing but respect. He's a gamer, man. He is
for sure.
The same reason people love him, or it's the same reason people hate him. But he's a gamer. I'm not mad at him, and I believe Tampa can be in any game and win the division with him at the helm.
Yes, sir. Love it. Love that pick. I really like Baker coming out of college. I was pissed when Cleveland drafted him because I liked him, you know. So
yeah.
He's on my list as well. But at number 8 for me, we got a chance to see him play last night. And if he plays like he plays last night, he's gonna move even higher up this list. That's Justin Herbert. Threw for 3,870 yards last season on 65.9% completion percentage. Only had 23 touchdowns, but only threw 3 interceptions. So when you're in a run-heavy offense, protecting the ball that way, there's not really much more you can ask of your quarterback. Yes, a talent like Justin Herbert, you would expect to throw for 4,000 plus every year. Definitely want to see that completion percentage rise a little bit, and definitely a player just off talent alone could be and should be much higher on this list. But Justin Herbert fell at number 8 on my list and looked really great last night. So shout out to him.
Let's transition, man, because that's my number 7, Justin Herbert. And as you mentioned, had we done this we are doing it after the game. Had my list been made after the game as somebody that you could say is easily top 5 based off his performance. We knew the talent was there. He has all the tools, 6'6", big arm, smart guy. Last night against the Chiefs, 25 for 34, 73.5 completion percentage, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. The guy's a gamer, and they talk about Jim Harbaugh and the offense and how they want to be run heavy. Well, he's like, hold on, man, give me the ball. I can go ahead and make things work. There were a lot of moments in that game against the Chiefs where they were in obvious running situations. There was a moment, I believe, when they were backed up on their own 2 or 1 and came out throwing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
There was another situation, or a few of them, when it was 3rd and 1, and they were tossing it.
Yeah,
tossing it. Even the play when he sealed the game.
Yep.
That wasn't a design quarterback run. That was a pass, and he just saw an open lane, ran 19 yards to go ahead and wrap that thing up. So he is somebody, as I mentioned before, the Chargers look legit. He's somebody that is a legitimate threat, somebody that can really change the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that once you start piling wins, and that's another reason why it's so important for the Bengals to get off to a good start, once you start stacking those wins, confidence is something that it's an intangible that can't be measured. Like once you literally believe we can go out here and beat anybody, and I think the Chargers are starting to gather some of that, especially if they start building these up. They can lay an egg next week and all of it washes away, or they can keep building on this win against a division rival, a team that they've lost to, I think, 7 times in a row or something crazy like that. And, with LA being LA, I think they were the home team, and that's not even going to really play a factor because there is no such thing as a home team in LA because of the city. And all the transplants. But I have Justin Herbert at number 7. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season, and I think a lot of people slept on. We all knew about the talent. We just didn't know if he's going to have a chance to have the production, given the offense. But incredible start to the season, incredible year last year, minus the lack of touchdowns, but 3 interceptions last year. That's something to be said. 0.6 interception percentage.
Yeah.
That led the league, in case anybody's wondering.
For sure. My number 7 was your number 8. That's Baker Mayfield, 4,500 yards, 71.4 completion percentage, 41 touchdowns, and only 16 interceptions. I say only because he threw 41 touchdowns. So that was a really incredible season for him, arguably his best season that he's had. And another guy, like I hate to sound like a broken record, but he's going to have a new offensive coordinator for the third year in a row here with Cohen going over to Jacksonville. Prior to that, I'm blanking on his name, but the Canales, who's the head coach for the Panthers. So this is going to be his third offensive coordinator in 3 seasons. So if he could have another season, with a new coordinator similar to this one that he had last season, it's going to be hard not to bump him up that list. But, as we get into these names, it's going to be really hard to crack into these. But I definitely had Baker Mayfield at number 7. Just continues to prove the naysayers wrong. And when you're balling
let a naysayer know.
Let a naysayer know. When you're balling like that, offensively with a defensive-minded coach like Todd Bowles, man, hats off to Baker, man. Salute.
Absolutely. Not mad at that pick. Obviously, I had him slot lower, slot lower, but definitely deserves to be on the list right in that range. My number 6. So the last before we get to the top 5, somebody that I will admittedly say I did not believe in when he was coming out of college. I just didn't think that it was going to translate. I thought he was a little bit too small. He had 3 years or so to prove who he was in Tempe. And I knew the name. I knew he could ball, but when he got to LSU, it was a little bit something different. Mm-hmm. Heisman Trophy winner. And listen, I don't like to pound my chest too often. But last season, in the inaugural season of Gridiron Jungle, we talked about that loss on Monday Night Football to Washington. And I said on recording, you can look it up. The episode's still up. Do not be surprised when we look up. That was a September game. Mm-hmm. That was a late September game because it was week 3. And I said, do not be surprised when it's November, Thanksgiving, and we look at Jaden Daniels doing this to everybody in the league because he hadn't really broken out yet. And that was kind of his coming out party. And I saw it in person. Phil saw it in person. We were both at that game, and there was just something about it where I said, you know what? I don't think this is a fluke. I don't think this is a Bengals defense thing. I think this dude is just this legit. And that's when I started believing in him. And sure enough, Offensive Rookie of the Year, 7th in MVP voting as a rookie. Mm-hmm. Led his team to the conference championship, 12-5. Washington wasn't supposed to be good.
Yeah.
When Phil, myself, Corey, we went to the draft in Detroit, mm-hmm. we ended up running into some Commander fans and had some good conversation with them, man. Like, just chopped it up. And I remember him telling me, I don't know how I feel about Jaden. I would have rather been tanking to try to get Arch. And listen, I always talk about. I've told the story about me and D Hall. We were the biggest. Listen, if you had D Milner stock to sell, from 2013 or whatever year that was, we would have bought all of it. We just thought he was the second coming to prime time. Mm-hmm. And it's funny how takes just become bad and just in such a quick time. Mm-hmm. Thinking about tanking for Arch Manning and passing up on Jaden Daniels seems ridiculous. That was a true sentiment. He proved everybody wrong. We should know, like, he's good against defense. Like, he's got to deal like with his mom. His mom blocks everything, so he's got to be able to read and maneuver and cover. Not only can he do it with the air, I didn't get into his stats. I talked about him being 12-5, 69% completion percentage, 3,568 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Not to mention another 891, I believe. 891 yards on the ground with 6 touchdowns. He's a dual threat guy, but wants to pass. Doesn't look to take off or anything of that nature. He's number 6 on the list. Somebody I definitely expect to be top 5 in the next few years. But he's a solid dude, man. He's a franchise quarterback. is going to be a problem for teams to reckon with for quite some time. So Jaden James is my number 6 after one season.
Yes, sir. I think that week 3 matchup that I saw with my very own eyes, as you did, has a lot to play with him being on my list, but not being in this number 6 spot. So maybe this is controversial, but I'll be honest. I really struggled with my number 6 spot, but I had to go based off of last season heading into this season. So number 6 for me is Jalen Hurts, as much as I feel like he is a top 5 quarterback. Go ahead.
Can I step in real quick?
Absolutely.
I wanted to put Jaden 5 and I wanted to put Jalen Hurts 6. I had to give the Super Bowl MVP some props. That's why he made it my number 5. And now everybody knows my number 5, but that's exactly the reason why. So I know the struggle you had because I wanted to put him 6 just from a quarterback stance. But because he won, if he didn't win the Super Bowl last year, he would have been number 6 and Jay would have been 5. But I had to flip flop him because of that.
Definitely. I can't argue with that, but for me, 2,903 yards, 68.7 completion percentage, only threw for 18 touchdowns, but protected the ball, only had 5 interceptions. But as you'll see, as you'll hear, Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback on this list that didn't get into the 20s as far as touchdown passes are concerned. So if you listen, you heard how much I raved about AJ Brown and loved him being on my list. So when you got 1,000-yard receiver on your team and another guy that should be 1,000-yard receiver and you throw for less than 3,000, it's hard for me to put you into that top 5. But I do hopefully expect them to see them pass the ball more this year. Doesn't look that way the way that week 1 went, although they had success when they actually called up pass play. So for that reason, Jalen Hurts was number 6. And once we get into my top 5, you'll see I threw my bias out the window. So Jalen Hurts is number 6 here for me.
Yeah, as I mentioned, he's my number 5, and it's interesting because I'm looking at his year prior, 2023, and he threw for 4,656 yards compared to last year's 2,812. He had, I don't know what. He had Kellen Moore for both of those years, right?
Yeah.
23 and so the touchdowns weren't really that different. I will say in 2023 he passed for he passed for 858 yards in 2023, which is still more than what he did last year, but 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, not really the best year. Still made the Pro Bowl, which once again, I don't really believe in the Pro Bowl as far as that being a legitimate honor. But his rushing is where he really separates himself. He's Super Bowl MVP, as I mentioned. He had 630 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns. He's been in double-digit rushing touchdowns every year except for his rookie season. And he only started 4 games that year. So a lot of his value comes there. It is odd because they just paid those receivers. So the offense, the way it's built, it's a rushing offense with him, Saquon. That's going to be the number one thing, and then maybe they'll lull you to sleep. But even when he did pass, I don't think he hit over 200 yards on Thursday. And then Dotson, I think, had the longest reception. Yeah. AJ had 1 catch for 8 yards. So it's kind of interesting how all of it is shaking out and breaking down, but we'll see. The Philly offense, we saw with our own 2 hours last year. I said it. That's the only team that I thought dominated us when Philly came into Paycor. And he was airing it out. So I guess it depends on the game plan. They're a true football team where it doesn't matter what our system is. We're going to do what we need to do week by week to win this game and win this matchup. So Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl MVP, got to put him at number 5. Got to give him some love for that. Even if his natural quarterback. And I don't know. He's one of those quarterbacks that I just feel is no matter what he does, he's never going to get his just due. You know what I mean? He's everybody agrees he's talented, but nobody agrees that he's the best. He's kind of in that middle pack. I don't know. It's kind of weird to explain, but I think I heard a stat. He's played for a championship 5 of the last 9 years, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and 3 national championship appearances in college. So, dude's a winner, and that's what it comes down to. So, shout out to Jalen. He's my number 5. Let's get into your top 5, Phil. Who you got?
Yes, sir. Definitely a winner. And like you talked about Philly being a true football team, it kind of reminds me of something my pops used to always say. I don't run as fast as I can. I run as fast as I have to. So that's kind of like, Philly, just changing the game plan how they need to based upon the opponent. So love that pick there. Number 5 for me, like I said, I'm throwing my bias out the window. As much as I dislike him, I got to go with none other than Buffalo's own, and that's Josh Allen. No elite receiver anywhere on that team and still managed to win MVP, threw for 3,731 yards, only 63.6% completion percentage, but threw for 28 touchdowns, only had 6 interceptions. And for a guy like Josh Allen that, notoriously used to turn the ball over, him being able to chop those turnovers down, especially those interceptions, is big time. Still, it's kind of weird that he was second team All Pro and managed to win the MVP, which I think Lamar definitely should have won that award. But runner up in the MVP, had a solid playoff run this year, finally. So for that reason, Josh Allen was number 5 on my list.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Corey. I know he won't be pleased with it, but Josh Allen's my number 4. There's nobody denying he's an incredible talent. I think the top 3 on my list are just that much better. I think they are, like, even when we talk about, I've said it for a while, Josh Allen being MVP but not winning or not getting first team All Pro. I don't believe in PFF the same way I don't really believe in the Pro Bowl, but PFF didn't even have him on the first or second team. Joe Burrow was second team All PFF while Lamar was first team. Lamar had a better season. Lamar had a better season last year than the MVP he won the year prior. And he still lost out to the MVP.
Right.
So it was kind of a media thing. I don't want to diss Josh Allen because an MVP is an MVP. Played 17 games, 3,731 yards, 63.6 completion percentage, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 1.2 interception percentage. Led the league in QBR at 74.8, so you got to give him credit for that. Rushing, obviously, he gets the job done in that category as well, so he is a dual threat. You have to account for him. A lot of those third and shorts, if you don't keep him in the pocket, he will convert those first downs. He had 531 rushing yards with 12 rushing touchdowns, a little bit down from 15 the year before, but he's dominant, man. He means everything to that offense, and he's such a big deal to them. And there's no denying his talent, especially when you look at where he started compared to where he is now. Got to tip my hat to him, but I just can't put him past 4 on this list. And he's another guy he's how do I want to say this? Do I want to say he's better than Jalen? I don't know. Probably. I don't know. If you swap them out, what do those teams look like? That's a good question. I think Philly is just a better overall team. So it's hard to answer that question. I think Josh does some amazing things individually. But I also just look at Josh as one of those people that he's a reigning MVP, and I still don't. I knew making this list, he's not going to crack my top 3. So it's kind of odd in that sense, but it is what it is. So shout out to Josh Allen, number 4 on the list. Who is your number 4, Phil?
Yeah, my number 4 is your number 6, and I know it's one season. I know.
I get it.
I said what I witnessed, what I saw with my own eyes had everything to do with it. Yes, you talked about Philly blowing us out. It was really just in that second half, but I don't feel like it was the offense that did it. Like, I watched Jaden Daniels literally as a rookie, we had no answer at all. And I think about, how successful he was, throwing for the 3,568 yards, 69% completion percentage, 25 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. Doing that as a rookie on a team with new everything, new ownership, new coaching, new colors, new name. I mean, just new everything. Like, this team was not even supposed to be relevant, yet alone be good playing in the conference championship. So, I mean, even with a sophomore slump, if he happens to have one, he'll probably still find himself on that list. That's just incredible to me. And for that reason, Jaden Daniels is number 4 on my list, man. Dude is a straight baller. Nobody I've seen just single-handedly dominate. I mean, he had a historic game. I mean, like, we literally have never seen anything like what he did against us week 3 last year. And he really continued that from that point on. So for that reason, I got Jaden Daniels number 4. Couldn't bump him up any higher, but I truly felt like I couldn't put him any lower than number 4. So for that reason, Jaden Daniels is number 4 on my list.
Listen, I'm not mad at it at all. It makes complete sense, and not mad at it at all. Some people will be, but not me. Number 3, former Heisman Trophy winner. 2 of the top 3, of course, are going to be Heisman Trophy winners, but former Heisman Trophy winner. His first year as a full-time starter, won MVP of the league. 2023, his second MVP. He's coming off back-to-back first-team All-Pro seasons. Second in MVP voting this past year. Second in Offensive Player of the Year. I mentioned his 2023 year. He won MVP, 3,678 passing yards. Well, last year he had 4,172. All right. His MVP year in 2023, 24 passing touchdowns. Last year he had 41. MVP season in 2023, 7 interceptions. Last year he had 4. I don't know what we're talking about. I thought it was clear. Led the league in passer rating at 119.6, 74.8 QBR. We're not even getting into his rushing and what he does with his legs and how silly he makes people look. I.e., holler at our boy Cincinnati kid Sam Hubbard, because he saw that firsthand. 915 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. Action Jackson, man. Lamar Jackson is one of the most fun quarterbacks that we've ever seen. And every time I think about draft day, him slipping to 32 was insane. Just watch the tape. Sometimes we looking too much analytics, man. Sometimes just put the tape on. He was a baller. And once again, teammates love him. City loves him. I just saw a tweet the other day that said, I pulled that fire out on somebody about you. Like, he was just a random fan just letting him, I put that fire on somebody about you, Lamar. You know how serious it's got to be for you to say, I'll risk some years. I will risk some years for my quarterback. Lamar Jackson just does that, man. He's an incredible talent, only getting better. Like I said, back-to-back first-team All-Pro. Hopefully we shut that down this year. But you got to account for number 8 each and every year. Has he got it done in the playoffs? No. But outside of that, you can't deny who he is. He is somebody that kind of keeps the defense up, definitely keeps defensive coordinators up the night before. Lamar Jackson is my number 3 on this list, and that even feels too low.
Yeah, it does, but I understand. But hey, it is what it is. It's your list. I don't think you can be mad at any way these top 3 are organized. I think we'll agree on one of these slots. It's not this one because my number 3 is that guy who I don't like to mention, and that's Patrick Mahomes. 3,928 yards last year, 67.5% completion percentage, 26 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. I mean, when you look at the numbers, I mean, Lamar just blew him out the water this past season. Like you said, like I've said, I truly feel Lamar should have won MVP last year. It was definitely a down year for Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying that he's stuck here at number 3. Pat could be 2, Pat could be 1. But based off of last season going into this season, I couldn't put Pat any higher than number 3. So Mahomes, you know, he plays a lot of backyard football. I don't think he plays within the flow of the offense as well as, you know, my number 1 and my number 2 here. But he gets away with it. He's still successful. I mean, this dude, been at 3 Super Bowls in a row. So, I mean, it's just hard to argue with. But 3 Super Bowls in a row, he falls in my number 3 spot. That's Pat Mahomes. So hate me all you want, but he's in my number 3.
Yeah, that's my number 2, Pat Mahomes. I mean, obviously he's a generational talent. He's been tearing up the league since he was a full-time starter in 2018. He was first-team All-Pro and won MVP, similar to Lamar in his first season of being a full-time starter. He's won MVP in 2022 as well, and also got his other first-team All-Pro start, or ballot, should I say, his recognition. Been a Pro Bowl every single year except for last year because they made it to the Super Bowl. Last year, like you said, was a down year. They happen to be 15-1, which can't go unaccounted. But if you watch the tape, this is why stats don't always tell the story. If you watch the tape, you can tell it wasn't like years past. 2023, he had 27 touchdowns. Last year, he had 26 compared to the 41 in 2022. So it's been a little bit of a consistency where his passing numbers have been down. Obviously, they've been focusing on the rushing attack. No Tyreek Hill. That's been going on for a few years now. And they decided to win games differently, and they did a good job of it. He played 16 games last year. Of course, they did not play the final week of the season. They were scared of the Bengals, didn't want that smoke. But I understand it. I get it, y'all. I get it. 11 interceptions last year, 26 touchdowns. I think I mentioned 3,928 yards, 67.5 completion percentage. I don't want to take anything away from him. We all know who Pat is, and we know what happens when those lights are on. He ran into a juggernaut last year in the Super Bowl. I mean, just got smacked around. And that's one thing. When you get some pressure on them, similar to Super Bowl 55, was it 55 when they played Tampa? And Tampa had him running for his life. Like, just there's a certain way to attack Patrick Mahomes. And when you get into those situations and you only got to beat him once, that's the best way to do it. And a lot of times people like to save their looks and this, that, and the third. But when you unleash, you can have them rattle. And they're just not the same team. Even, like I said, looking at them last night against the Chargers, I know they have a lot of weapons out. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy went out after 3 plays. But even then, they're gonna have to scrap and claw for their wins. It's not gonna be like the early Mahomes years where they're just going out and smoking people and taking shots and having the whole league on alert. It's almost like when Steph Curry and the Warriors started bombing all those threes. Oh man, the NFL's changing. Well, it did for a little while. They still got Andy Reid. I'm never gonna take them lightly, but he's my number 2 quarterback.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My number 2 is your number 3, and that's Action Jackson, man. You've read off the stats. We know how great he is, in my opinion, a model of consistency on and off the field. Other than him being a Raven, there's nothing bad I can say about Lamar. I loved him in college, loved him coming out, and I just love that he's proven still. What's this, year 8 for him? Maybe.
Lamar?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Had it up.
But yeah, I mean, each and every year, man, he continues to prove naysayers wrong. I mean, in my opinion, even if you remove the Russian element, just his passing stats alone was worthy enough for him to be MVP. And you already said it before, his MVP season the year prior was better than, his season last year was better than his MVP season the year prior. So, unfortunately, politics and favoritism, plays a part in every aspect of life. And that's truly, in my opinion, what this MVP situation was. But Lamar Jackson is my number 2. Maybe it's biased. Maybe you could argue that he's number 1, but Lamar is my number 2. And we got one we agree on here at 1. I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah. You know what? I think a lot, to your point real quick, I don't know, the voting of it is always weird. MVP voting is always in every sport, right? Because basketball in the 90s, you look at it and you say Jordan could have won every year. And there was those years where Karl Malone won. Olajuwon deserved his because Jordan was out. But you're picking these guys just because you have voter fatigue. You don't want to vote for them. And I think historically they might look at it as well. Like, what's it going to say if we have Lamar Jackson with, and you were right, this is year 8 he's entering. What happens if he has 3 MVPs in 7 seasons? You know what I mean? What does that look like from a historical standpoint? Are those numbers going to tell the story? I think about NBA where Jokic is dominating, and I really think a lot of voters took a long, hard look and saying, are we really going to give him the same amount of MVPs as LeBron?
Right.
Somebody who we said has dominated this generation, a couple generations at this point. Are we really going to give him the same number? So historically, going to look at it the same? I don't know. I think that's a real thing, and that's probably played into it. But as you mentioned, enough about Lamar, enough about Josh, enough about Mahomes, about all these other dudes. Big Shiesty.
Yes,
I don't know if y'all can see it. I don't know if it's showing up. Big Shiesty. We got Joseph Lee Burrow as the number 1 quarterback in the league. Now, we do have the benefit, because I know a lot of people, if you weren't Bengals fans, you might be looking and say, man, y'all are homers. Whatever. It's not like we're Jaguars fans and we're saying Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in the league. I feel like that's being a homer. I think anybody, no matter who you root for, you can look at Joe Burrow. You can look at the last part of his last season and say, yo, this dude is a killer. He is an animal. He is somebody that I do not want my team playing when all the marbles are there for the taking. So part of it is, yes, us being fans and us watching him year in, year out. I've said this before. One of my favorite, I think it was Trey Wingo on one of his shows, one of my favorite Joe Burrow stories was the AAU game he played in when he was 10 years old. They were down by, I think, 7. He hit like 9 free throws in a row, got them to win. And the sociology professor at Ohio University, which is in Athens, where he's was raised, came over and said, I just want to let you know, like, he has the same traits of him as first responders and serial offenders. Like, his heart rate does not change no matter what's going on. He could be cutting the grass. He could be saving people from a burning building. My dude is Joe Cool for a reason.
Yes,
I had
sir.
complete confidence. We talked about Cute Quarterback on Netflix, getting more of an insight. He's not the most vocal guy, but you can tell he takes this seriously. He wants to be great. And with the preseason that he's had, once again, this is us being privy because we're fans. So I'm not looking at preseason reports in Baltimore and Kansas City and Washington the same way I'm looking at the Bengals stuff. But all the reports are saying the same thing. We've seen it with our own 2 eyes. He went through the routine of going to Washington in that second preseason game with the mindset of QB1. How am I preparing for this game? Joe's going to win MVP this year. He's due. He's generational. He's not like a high school phenom, but you can tell you work for it. And that's even more impressive because it's all mental, man. It's just that will, that grind. Shout out to that Mamba mentality, that Kobe. Like, nobody's going to outwork me. Nobody's going to beat me for this. Like, it's going to have to be taken from me. And I truly, truly believe fully healthy season, fully locked in. Weapons are all there. Nothing hovering over them.
Nope.
Nothing like all contract situations or none of that. He had a regular camp. And I think it's going to work wonders for the Bengals, man. And quote me. Telling you, we're going to come back to this in February. I'm telling y'all right now, it's going to be a big year for the Bengals.
Yes, sir.
So shout out to Joseph Lee Burrow, my number one quarterback in the league. Literally would not trade Joe for any of the quarterbacks we named.
No, not at all.
And I love some of these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Would not trade Joe at all.
Yeah. Wouldn't even think about it. And
I'm hanging up the phone.
For sure. I'm gonna take a different approach. I'm not gonna regurgitate anything that you said. Going into last season, Joe Burrow had a wrist surgery that no other quarterback had ever done. You know what I'm saying? People were telling me he couldn't hold a water bottle. He wasn't gonna be able to throw a football. I had guys in the Dynasty League tell me to drop him because he was washed. He wasn't gonna be the same. And he went on to lead the league in passing, almost threw for 5,000 yards, 4,918, 70%, 70.6% completion percentage, 43 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. And now he says he's healthy. Now he said he's throwing the ball like he wants. He wasn't even throwing the ball that he felt that he wanted to or that he should last season. And to have that type of season, to me, is just incredible. I've said it before. I've said it to you personally on and off the pod. I don't think there's any quarterback in the league that's asked to do more than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has dealt with faulty offensive lines his entire career. It's cost him a season and a half, if not more. So excuse my disrespect when I say this to any fans of the rest of the league. Joe Burrow's number one, and I don't even think it's close. And I think he's going to continue to show that. I think if we make the playoffs last year, one more game, I think he's the MVP. There were people arguing, analysts, non-Bengal people arguing that he was the MVP of the league, even missing the playoffs. So that should let you know that we're not being homers. And I can't wait for him to follow up last season, which what I expect to even better season this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him lead the league in passing again. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jamar Chase win Triple Crown again. So I can't tell you how excited I am to see Burrow fully healthy, no distractions, all his weapons. And man, I'm fired up, man. Big Shiesty.
Yeah.
Joe Cool, also, Joe Brr, whatever you want to call him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We here.
Also, all-time leader in NFL history for passing percentage or completion percentage, should I say?
Yes, sir.
68.6%. I know he's going into year 6. 68.6. And we got to finish the rest of it. But Joe he's that dude. It might be a little bit closer than what Phil is saying between 1 and 2, but no question, Joe's number 1 in my eyes. So that is our quarterback list. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, I just see it. I know it's going to happen. We're taking it from there. Phil, did you want to give out your best bet before we get out of here?
Yes, sir. I got 2 bets I want to give out. My best bet, and it's the best bet for a reason. It's not about the odds. It's about winning you some money. Okay, it's minus 135. So it's not bad odds, but that's Jamar Chase TD. If you can get Jamar Chase TD at minus 135 or better, hammer that bad boy. You know what I mean? He might get 2 of them. So I definitely can't see Jamar after scoring 20 touchdowns last year. I believe it was 17 touchdowns last year. That's a touchdown a game. I expect to see that same pace. And you alluded to it a little earlier. It's been a lot of chirping going on. Well, we're gonna give you what you want. So expect some bombs.
You gotta stand on that. You gotta stand on that.
We gonna stand on anybody that tries to guard Jamar gonna get stood on. So that's my best bet. Jamar is touchdown. If you got a boost, use it on that. If you want to play a single bet, and go ahead and build that bankroll up here week 1. I do have a little 4-leg parlay I also want to give out. Real easy to remember. All right. So I got Joe Burrow 2 passing touchdowns. I got Joe Burrow 230 pass yards. I'm sticking my best bet in there. That's Jamar Chase TD. And I'm also adding in a Chase Brown TD. I don't see Chase Brown not getting in the end zone. I should be somewhere around plus 320 or so for you. So really good way to triple your money there if you want to, sprinkle a little bit on a parlay there if you're into that. Otherwise, best bet of the day, Jamar Chase touchdown. But my 4-leg parlay that I'm loving, especially if you can get a boost, if you can get the 1-leg forgiveness, I don't see any way this doesn't hit. That's Chase Brown TD, Jamar Chase TD, Burrow for 2 passing TDs and 230 yards. So that's my parlay I wanted to give out to the people.
I love it. Y'all heard Phil. He'll be back every week with some picks.
Yes, sir.
And we're officially here, y'all. Next time we talk, it's going to be a reaction. The games count. Everything's real. We'll be back with a new episode. It should be Tuesday. We plan on probably recording Monday night.
Yes, sir.
Have some reaction time. And then to go from there. So we appreciate it. Buckle in. It's going to be a nice season, long season. A lot of Bengals victories. And I'm looking forward to the NFL being back. So, Phil, appreciate you, my brother. Wouldn't be doing this with anybody else. And for all you fans out there, who they?
Yes, sir.
Who they? Next week. We'll appreciate talk to you later this week, a couple days, actually. Yeah. So, always, man, let's get to it, man. Let's have a great year.
Yes, sir. Let's go 1-0 this week. Appreciate you.
All right. We out, y'all.